you could be the smartest in your class at school, but when you go to uni, you're like just a big fish in a big
Oh,
pond, right?
hell yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Can't be the smartest in school. What was that thing Mr. Gold used to always say? Being a big fish in a small pond. Oh, yeah. I know that. But go on.
Nah, it's just weird. It's just weird, especially
What,
at uni.
to go from that transition from being, from being a top guy to not a top guy?
Yeah, from being a big
Because
fish
it's
in a
all
small pond
contextual,
to
man. It's contextual. Whether you're talking about the girls or the uni work, it's contextual.
mm,
It depends on what your goals are. Like I said, if you are underachieving if if you're out here trying to bag nines and above, and the only girls that like you are sevens. No matter what you think of yourself, if that's what you're trying to do and that's what you can do, you're underachieving. Because it's all contextual. Whether you're overachieving, underachieving, or performing how you think you should be performing, it's based on whatever context you set yourself. Same thing
mm,
with work. If you're working at a certain level and you're the big fish in school, it's only because the context, the environment is the 100 or so kids that you're surrounded by. You then go to university, it's a completely different environment. Not just in terms of who's around you, but in terms of like the skills that you need to be successful. Because now it's no longer about in school exams, memory plays such a big factor. That becomes, I don't know about all of the subjects, but I know for STEM subjects at university, memory just, the advantage of having a really good memory just kind of diminishes because the questions become a lot more problem solving and a lot less rote learning. So
yeah, yeah.
the environment completely changes. So you're going to have some people that, they go to university and they discover something about themselves, really turn it on. I had a girl, one of the engineers on my course. I was her supervision partner in second year. There was a lesson where we had to differentiate, we were just going through some working, and for one part of the working, you had to differentiate, something like y squared. And it took us 25 minutes to explain to her
Mad.
how to differentiate, y squared with respect to y. And it's like it's secondary school stuff. And
Mm,
this is Cambridge engineering. And she's struggling, yeah. She got a 2-2 that year. The next year, she was 4 marks off of first. Cause she learned that the skill that she could bring to the table is this ridiculous work ethic that like pretty much blew everyone else out of the water. She worked like it was like a job, like a 9 to 5 thing, like every day,
mad.
Monday, to Friday, Monday, to Saturday. And that's what I mean about context. In school, she's getting mocked for not being able to differentiate stuff. She's getting A's when other people are getting A stars.
Yeah, yeah,
Fast
yeah.
forward years, the context, like she doesn't change, but the context changes, and suddenly everything's different. Same thing with girls as well.
Mm.
If the context changes, then everything changes. Suddenly you're overperforming when you are underperforming, or vice versa. It's all contextual.
Yeah, because you got to adapt to your playing field, isn't it? Like, it's funny actually. You're talking about like the girl in Cambridge. Do you feel like you stand out at all? I mean, obviously as a black student, it's always like you're always gonna stand out in that regard in terms of race, but in terms of like intelligence or like what you do on a day to day.
You mean like work wise?
No, but like I mean, in school we were always like that group. Do you kind of have that? Is that like a thing that you continued into uni, or is it just like obviously?
Um, yeah and no. Yeah and no. One thing about with me and uni, I never really, until like a month before the coronavirus hit, I never really got into the university activities in terms of like, we do a lot of like black tie dinners. I've still never been to a May Ball, which is like
Mad.
the biggest event of like the calendar. Um, a lot of that kind of stuff. Like I've been to less than 5 formals. I've never really been big on the swaps or any of those, the pub crawls or any of those kind of social things. I basically did what I did in school. I found a little tight knit circle of, delinquents and, troublemakers and just horrible, horrific people. And we just did dumb shit for years until like the majority of us graduated. That's like, that's what I'd say I spent uni doing.
Sounds like the
In
way to
terms of
go.
like, Yeah, but in terms of like work wise, I'd also say that I was very late to develop kind of like a work ethic in terms of like a work level maturity. And I'm someone that I feel like at university, you discover whether you're passionate about the course or you're passionate about your paper. Cause it's gonna be one or the other. It's like the law of sunk cost. By the time you get to second or third year, you have sacrificed so much to these exams that you start to think about what you're going to get out of it. So you either still love your subject and you're going to be like that, or you subscribe to the school of, okay, now I'm going to get my compensation. And I had a guy in my year who, got a 2-2 in chemical engineering. He got an internship at at a bank, offered him
Mm.
something like 50K unconditional offer, something like that. Just because he was so good on the internship. They didn't care about his grades. They didn't care about anything. I remember when I found that out and I discovered that, yeah, I was no longer going to be this guy that was just passionate about this subject. Cause I came in loving F1 and I was just like, this is all I want to do. This is all I'm going to do. I don't care if F1 people don't really get paid that much. I don't care if the hours are long. But when I heard that the guy who was at the bottom of the class well, near the bottom of the class was going to become the biggest baller in our year,
Yeah, yeah.
that definitely changed my approach in terms of like the kind of student I was playing. I was now no longer being like the going to all of the clubs and trying to like get my knowledge base up. It became very much more like tactical learning after that. In terms of like social places, I feel like I've been a weird kind of black figure in Cambridge as well. I've been a very weird black figure. I'll explain what I mean, yeah, because when I came in my college, there was this guy. He was 2 years above me, and he was like the guy. He was like the big name. And
Mm.
I remember my first night out. It was for freshers. He found me out of the club, came around me, and was like, "Yo, dude, it's like the most calm, like most just like nicest person that you'll ever meet, vibesiest person that you'll ever meet." Yeah,
Mad.
and that was like what our college had. I don't do none of that nonsense, man. I don't even associate that much with like ACS because I enjoy having naps and watching TV too much. Like, I don't really even do that much ACS nonsense. But the people that know me, and those are going to be people around college or people that have seen me about, for some reason, I stick in their head. Like, I get asked about by people who I don't even remember meeting in the sense that, because I don't think there's really many, there's this black excellence culture
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
especially in a place like Cambridge where there's not that many black people. There's this pressure to be like to live up to this image of black excellence, man, and it's fake. And I think that there's the people that know me or the people that remember me, the reason why they remember me is because every time I've ever been out, the few times that I am out, they remember that I've done some real stuff. And I feel like that if you're talking about a black figure in Cambridge, that's probably one thing I can say I'm proud of. I'm the one that like showing people that you don't have to come in and be you don't have to
Like
come
excellent.
if you don't want to, you don't have to come and adapt to this like other lifestyle. You don't have to start if you don't feel comfortable with dressing up in these suits and going out for these dinners. You'd rather just go and get KFC with your boys. You can
Mm.
do that. You don't have to feel excluded from this whole culture of what's going on. Because even ACS does that to a little bit of a degree because of the black excellence culture. You it's not this harmonious kind of like club where everyone just gets along with everybody. I think part of that as well is because you're trying to force a connection with people where you don't really have that much connection. If I'm part of like say Hong Kong society, a lot of people in my uni Hong Kong society were born and raised in Hong Kong. So they come to form this club so that they can share these things together. If I go to ACS, I was born in Chichester and both my parents are from Trinidad. So what do I have in common from someone that went to private school in Nigeria and then went to Cambridge? The only thing we have in common is that we're both black.
Mm.
Culturally, we have nothing in common. Like, I've heard too many jokes about jollof rice that I can't contribute in. I've never had it. I'm not gonna lie, I've never had it. And that's what I mean about the black excellence. I feel like it's because there's nothing in common. There people try and create this black persona that's
Mm.
fake. Because I know I'm not the only one that's never had jollof rice in that crowd. But you're still gonna try and laugh along with the jokes, and you're still gonna try and sell yourself like that so that you can feel part of this community. And I think what I did in my university, like, I let a lot of these guys know you can be part of that community, but and be you at the same time. You don't have to fall under this mold of what educated black person looks like. An educated
Yeah,
black
yeah.
person looks like whatever you want it to look like. So that's one thing I did at uni.
Mm. That's
But yeah,
true.
man, we don't have a lot of niggas. We really don't.
Yeah, you have like what, 6, I think, or in your college at least.
Oh, in my college we have 8. I think we have 8 in the first year now.
Mm. That's good.
First year.
That's a good sign,
In
I
my
guess.
year we had like 4 or 5.